In this podcast, I will be showing the effects of drugs through two different individuals and their own personal stories. In regards to whether drugs should be made legal, which is one of my acts of social policy. Some drugs are thought to have a positive medical use, but could be untrue considering the contradicting facts.
So I used that as an escape, but it just kept picking up and getting worse and getting worse. So I just used them a lot more, and then eventually it turned into an addiction, and things just kept going downhill for me. The main challenge I had was my mental health. To be brought down to a level of nothing in your own mindset is very difficult. But then to have to bring that back up for yourself more than other people is even more difficult, because you know you're the one that's brought yourself down to that point. So you're just filled with a lot of guilt. So I was just in a bad state, and then someone came along. No one was really giving me a chance. No one was letting me speak. No one was letting me do this in my own actions. It was hard to get a job. So that put me in a bit of a rough state, and then my mental health decided it wanted to deteriorate. So I decided it was time to pick up, go get some mental help, and try and stop all the drugs. Which I went, had some counselling, and very quickly start to pick up, come back on track from the drug addiction. I've always had a rough childhood with my parents. Always hated it, always wanted to find a way to get up. School was bad for me. And then, obviously, going through the years, I came into college. But then I mixed in with the wrong group of people. Mental. And not everyone's going to turn out like me. I know people who are like me, got into the same position as me, but didn't do it.
I was only 10 when my drug use started. Both my parents were active addicts, so it was my mum who got me into it. She always acted like a teenager, more like a friend than a mum. And she gave me pills for the first time. I was living with her back then, and I started consistently taking bunches of pills, smoking weed and drinking a lot. I struggled with depression and my parents' physical and verbal abuse, so then I started to abuse myself with drugs and cutting. By the age of 13, I was living in a shelter with my mum and my youngest sister. The police found me there and took me back to my dad's. It was very abusive. I ended up homeless and on the streets, living and sleeping in a cardboard box, begging and struggling to find ways to get my next meal. A few weeks later, my grandparents found me and got custody of me, so I moved in with them. I started treatment, and since then I've gotten sober. I've had my mum come in and out of my treatment all my life. My sister too. I've lost a lot of family and more friends than I can count to this disease of addiction. But at least I haven't lost myself. Sure, I've had bad moments. I went through a breakup around the same time, and that a close friend of mine died. But I didn't let that send me back to using drugs. Nothing's been easy, but recovery is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
From listening to these stories, I think drugs should not be made legal as they destroy lives from an early age, as shown. Even though they both recovered from their addictions, many people in the world have lost their lives due to drugs. Not everyone who has problems with alcohol or drugs becomes homeless, and not every homeless person has problems with drug or alcohol abuse, which is a typical stereotype. However, levels of drug and alcohol abuse are relatively high amongst the homeless population. 2/3 of homeless people cite drug or alcohol use as a reason for first becoming homeless. Those who use drugs are 7 times more likely to become homeless.